Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the program tonight. From a massive shortfall to a massive glut in vaccines in major hospitals at a time when booster shots should be a national priority. Can the government step up vaccinations, which is critical, but also allow booster shots and a full-scale export of Indian vaccines? That's our top debate this evening. Next up, SpiceJet Boeing 737 MAX jets are up flying after they were grounded around the world more than 2 years back after two crashes. I get inside one of the new jets to interview the SpiceJet CMD Ajay Singh on his plans, broadband, onboard flights, flight safety of the Boeing 737 MAX, and losing the bid for Air India. Remember, he was one of the two bidders. The Tatas eventually won. That's coming up in the next few minutes. But the big question this evening, should India start administering COVID booster doses? We've got a great panel this evening. We've got Dr. Giridhar Gyani, the Director General of the Association of Healthcare Providers, Dr. Gautam Bhansali, a consultant and physician at Bombay Hospital and a member of the Maharashtra COVID Task Force, and Dr. Harsh Mahajan joins us as well. Dr. Gyani, let me come to you first. In terms of numbers, what are you seeing in terms of stocks of COVID vaccines lying unused?
Yeah, we had an estimate taken from our hospitals. It was coming between 40 to 50 lakhs last week.
So could you just repeat that number, sir?
40 to 50 lakhs
40
doses.
to 50 lakhs unused doses, and in how many hospitals?
We have taken a survey from, we have around 12,000 hospitals as members, but those who are administering vaccine were around 5,000.
Okay, so let me just go through a couple of numbers that we've been able to compile. On the 3rd of October, in the week of the 3rd of October, there were 10.85 crore doses which were available at the level of states. On the 3rd of November, this is the 3rd of October. On the 3rd of November, in the week of the 3rd of November, 21.66 crore doses were available. So there is double the number of doses which were available. The rate of vaccination has not gone up, it's not gone down, it's been fairly consistent, and it's not good. I mean, a lot more needs to be done. So Dr. Mahajan, the question is this: as we encourage people to get vaccines, their second dose, is it also not imperative to get booster doses to people who need them?
Vishnu, it's a very important question. But there are several issues here. One is moral and ethical, where countries which have the doses are getting thinking of a booster shot, whereas there are countries around the world which are 2, 3, 5% vaccinated. Then you have scientific and medical issues. Is it actually necessary? And third is the current pandemic situation in our country. And fourth is the level of previously infected people and those who are already vaccinated, leading to seropositivity in the community as a whole. All these factors will have to be considered when we talk about, booster doses. And then further issues are, if you remember, healthcare and frontline workers were injected first during the early January, February, when, if you remember, the duration between two doses of Covishield, which is 90% of what has been injected, was 4 to 6 weeks. So, and we know now that if the duration is 84 days or more, you get better immune response. So there, maybe these are people who now deserve 9-10 months down the line to get booster shots. Then you have people who are immunosuppressed, having cancer, and those who were unable to mount a robust immune response. Again, as you pointed out, there is no dearth of vaccine in the country today. 30 crore vaccines are being
sir,
produced.
Roll them out. I think that's the point.
Yeah. But again,
it's no longer, sir, Dr. Mahajan, my only point is it's no longer an issue of, look, we must ensure that people get 2 doses. That goes without saying. But we have a glut, right? And the requirements are in a couple of months, these vaccines are going to expire. So therefore, the question is, if you are unable to vaccinate people who are getting a second dose, why not vaccinate those who want a third dose?
I would agree with that.
It's just a
Vishnu.
practical point, without for a
Absolutely.
moment affecting availability of the second dose.
Absolutely. I would tend to agree with that because right now vaccine is more valuable than gold. And if it were to expire,
What a waste that would be.
That would
It would
be a
be
waste.
a national waste. Let me just go
Absolutely.
across to Dr. Gautam Bhansali. Dr. Bhansali, in a situation like this, when we've got a glut of vaccines, what are you doing to try and encourage people in your hospital to try and get their dose?
See, Vishnu, first of all, I will say that in our hospital, like in Bombay Hospital, that is the first private hospital in the country who is giving free vaccination to everybody. Anybody can come and take, anybody can come, just walk in and take free vaccination in Bombay Hospital, Mumbai. This is the one thing. We have started this thing because we have enough vaccine in our hospital and in Mumbai also. Second thing, till now, approximately 120 crore people got vaccinated in our country. Out of that, 41 crore people are fully vaccinated. If you see data like especially healthcare worker or comorbid people, they have taken second dose in the month of February or March. It's almost 9-10 months there. And if you see their antibody level, like I myself checked my antibody 2 months back, it was 22 only. Now I checked, it's a 16. So antibody level is definitely going down. And there is some sort of fear factor that number of cases are increasing in Western world, like European country. If you see, cases are increasing like anything. If you see the data, like first wave in our country was in the month of March. Second wave was also in the month of February, March. Third wave may come in the month of January, February or March. So we should be careful. We should not be fearful at all, but we should be active enough to get a booster dose. I strongly recommend that, especially in the healthcare worker, frontline worker, comorbid people, immunosuppressed people, they should get booster dose, booster shot of vaccine to prevent third wave. And we have enough vaccine. There is no shortage of vaccines in our country.
No, but
so I strongly recommend booster dose.
Got it, sir. Dr. Gyani, just one final question to you, sir. I mean, what Dr. Mahajan was saying, and I, slightly disagree with him. And he said that, look, Vishnu, it's an ethical issue as well. Large parts of the world haven't got more than one dose, if at all. And we are talking about a third booster dose. But sir, if you look at how the world has played, it's not been entirely ethical, and India has fallen behind. America and the United Kingdom, among other countries, spent billions of dollars in buying vaccines. We never did that. We wanted to follow procedure. Booster doses are being given in the United States to those above 18. Here we are talking about those with comorbidities. It's being opened up, or has been opened up, in the United Kingdom as well to those above a certain age. And it would be the same in many countries across the world. Do you think we have the luxury in India to get into this ethical argument? If we have got the vaccines, second dose is being assured, if it is available, let's give it to people who need a third dose. Should that not be the way forward, sir?
Actually, precisely, we had written to the Health Minister on 12th November based on the recommendation from the expert committee of HPI. Their opinion was, although 97% of population was found to have antibodies in Delhi, for example.
Yep.
So there was a safety factor. That means we are reasonably safe in our country and antibodies are going to last, but how long? Nobody knows.
Right.
It can be 6 months minimum, it can be 1 year. But at the same time, they realized, they quoted Australia and America, who have started giving the booster dose. So our contention to the government was, if we have enough vaccine, but I don't want to link that because we have vaccine, we should give booster. No. Booster is required in any case for the impending danger that the, the comorbid people or above 50 years people may be, their antibodies may be waning and they may not be able to sustain if the next infection comes to them. So we have recommended, and on 16 November, we met the minister in person. And he said, yes, we are considering it positively and the enough vaccine is available. That is what has happened. So we have recommended for giving the booster dose.
Sure. All right, well, I'd like to thank all of you very much for being with us. It is about time that India starts administering a booster dose as well. A couple of comments on coup. Should India start administering booster doses? A question asked by Shivangi. In fact, we're asking the same thing. A booster dose should come after the second dose. So many people in the country are not fully vaccinated. What do you think? Well, one doesn't need to come at the expense of the other, is what we've basically been looking. Vihir writes in, with only 43% of people vaccinated with both the doses in India, is it necessary to take the booster dose? Shouldn't we be more focused on the vaccination process for people of the age of 18 and below? If the third wave comes, wouldn't they be more vulnerable, more valuable is the word used. I would use the word vulnerable. I think that's a valid point. Let's focus on those under the age of 18, start pediatric vaccinations as well, particularly since we've got vaccines which are available for that group. That doesn't need to come in the way of a third booster dose. India really needs to start talking about this. For the first time in a couple of years, we are seeing the real re-emergence of the Indian civil aviation sector. Demand, which has perhaps been pent up for the last couple of years because of the COVID situation, is now being realized through some decent growth. But the challenges that the aviation sector has actually faced in India, quite remarkable. One of the airlines which has really had a tough time over the last few years, but is looking to actually expand considerably, is SpiceJet. And we have a wonderful guest with us, the CMD of SpiceJet, Mr. Ajay Singh. Thanks very much for being with us. It's lovely always to sort of talk about aviation. Now, we are in the cockpit of a Boeing 737 MAX. This was an aircraft which you wanted to see flying in India a while back. It hasn't happened because of safety concerns. Is that now entirely resolved?
I think those concerns are more than resolved. As you know, we received delivery of this aircraft about 3 years ago. We flew them for 6 months, absolutely without incident. There was an incident with an Ethiopian aircraft, and since then the MAX has been grounded. It's gone through the greatest scrutiny since of any aircraft in history. Regulators have taken more than 2 years to look at every little piece of this aircraft and ensure that it is today the safest aircraft in the world. It's flying, the MAX is now flying in the United States for the last year or so. It's been flying in Europe, it's been flying in the Middle East, it's been flying in South America and Australia. So it is being widely used, it's flying without incident. SpiceJet started to fly this aircraft 2 days ago. And so far with all the flights that we have flown, there's not even been a minor issue. It's flying completely smoothly. It flew completely smoothly for SpiceJet when we were flying it and continues to do so. The changes have been made as required by the regulators, and it is now the safest airline in the global skies.
Tell us a little bit more about the changes, because the regulator required a few things. There were some software modifications. There was additional training of your crew, your engineers and your pilots. So it's been a process for you, right?
Yes, I think primarily it was a software modification that allowed, there was a stabilizing mechanism in the aircraft which essentially pushed the nose up. Every time the nose went down, the software would push it back up and make it even. And there was a glitch in that software which has now been rectified, tested for like a few 100,000 hours of flying. And it's working fine. As far as the training is concerned, it was just a 2-hour module that pilots were required to go through just to familiarize them with that software change. So that's been done. It should not have taken so long for the aircraft to start flying again. This has been the longest grounding in aviation history. But because I think regulators around the world wanted to be really extra careful and extra vigilant, they've done this. And as a consequence of that, of course, airlines like SpiceJet came under a lot of pressure, but we are glad that so many precautions have been taken that this is now such a safe aircraft.
You've invested a lot in Boeing, $22 billion, 205 aircraft, 13 you've received, 155 firm orders, 50 optional orders. So you are banking on the MAX aircraft for several reasons. One of them is the economy that the aircraft affords. How important is that, particularly in the Indian context where fuel prices are high, variable expenses are very variable. So in terms of the cost factor, why is this aircraft important?
I think for the exact same reason that you just mentioned, in India fuel prices are amongst the highest in the world. Firstly, the fuel prices themselves globally are high. On top of that, India has the highest taxes on fuel in terms of the VAT that is imposed by certain states, which can be as high as 30%, and the excise duty, which is 11%. So, it's incredibly important to have a fuel efficient aircraft. The MAX is 20% more fuel efficient than our older aircraft, the NG. So that is incredibly important. The fact that the engineering costs, because this is much better design of aircraft, so engineering costs are a lot lower for us with this aircraft. So those are the two primary costs in aviation, the fuel and the engineering. Therefore economically much better aircraft for us. For passengers it's a much nicer aircraft as well, because the noise levels are like 40% lower than the old aircraft. It's a nice quiet aircraft. It has wonderful seat pitch. You get much more leg room, and you're a tall person and you just sat in those seats, and you can see that because it's a longer aircraft and therefore the pitch, the space that you have for your legs is much more. And I think interestingly, this aircraft will also have broadband internet on board by the end of this year.
So that's interesting, because people would want to see that. You'd be able to access your net, is that a cost or to the passenger, or how is it?
Well, at this to start with, it's going to be free. We are going to make sure that people are able to access the net fully and properly in broadband mode. We probably won't allow calls to be made because that will be disturbing for other passengers. But pretty much everything else
But that's something you're going to have to deal with eventually, right? People will, as we progress, want to make phone calls as well.
They will want to make phone calls, and we'll see in the future what happens. But initially the thought is that we disable the voice calling, but allow you to of course work on your email or use your WhatsApp, watch your news, watch NDTV.com, and so it's going to be a unique experience for passengers. And I think internet is so much a part of our life. You can barely go a few minutes without looking at your phone, and of course some people might say that's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's not. But it's a service we want to give, and then you can use it. So we will continue to innovate in terms of the services we provide, the conveniences we provide to people, and lots of new technology that we are building into this aircraft. I think people enjoy that.
So let's. The other thing that you focused on was Air India. Now that didn't work out for you. Are you disappointed it didn't, or were you in a sense already stretched with SpiceJet and the condition of the aviation sector?
Well, I was disappointed. Of course, I was disappointed. I was very stretched with SpiceJet, but this is the kind of challenge that you get once in your lifetime. And I thought that what's the point of being in the aviation space if you're not prepared to take on the largest challenge that exists? So I was very disappointed. I put in a 15,100 crore bid. So it was a serious bid that we put for Air India. But I'm also extremely happy that, the disinvestment finally went through. I think great credit to the government of India for being flexible with this disinvestment. And I think Tata's is a fantastic partner for Air India. It was their company. They have the wherewithal and the resources to rebuild the brand of Air India. Air India as a brand belongs to all of us as Indians, and we all pray for them, and I wish them the very best. I hope that they revive this brand and they make it a brand that all of us can be proud of. This is a global brand. It needs to be. This is India. We need to make sure that we are the best.
So just one or two more questions. Firstly, 50 optional aircraft, they may or may not be MAX. So does that mean you're looking at a larger aircraft? And if so, would that be for international routes?
Look, I would never say never to anything at all. SpiceJet has always shown that it's going to take advantage of opportunity and innovate. So we'll see. I think the government has been pushing all of us really hard to fly long haul. I think it's time that India stopped exporting all its passengers into the Gulf airports and having the Gulf airlines distribute them throughout the world. There's been this joke that actually Dubai is our main airport and
Largest airline out of India,
and
Dubai
yeah,
is.
and Emirates is our national airline. So I mean that needs to change. I think this government is very focused on changing that. India is so wonderfully placed geographically, both for passengers and for cargo.
Right.
That we are both a producing nation and a consuming nation, and we sit in the middle of the producing and consuming nations of the world. So we need to be an important hub both for passengers and for cargo. We have a fantastic, really unique opportunity. But to make this a reality, I think government and industry and regulator and everybody needs to work together.
One final question. As you can imagine, a lot of people in the airline sector, including in your airline, your workers, were upset. Salaries were not what they were. There were salary cuts. Is there any message to them? Will they get their salaries back? And
Well,
where it was, or-
firstly, all the salary cuts have been restored. All the employees are being paid in full for the last 2 or 3 months. We had a choice, Vishnu. When COVID hit us, there were no flights. So we had a choice of either retrenching a lot of people or saying, okay, we have a certain amount of money that we get from our charter revenue and from cargo and so on and so forth. And we will distribute this money we will not retrench anybody, but we will distribute this money. And so therefore we will pay less. We chose that option instead of retrenching because if we had retrenched people, they really had no other jobs to get. Now things are normalizing, and so some and very few people at SpiceJet have protested and said, look, pay us what you reduced at that point of time. Well, it was a choice we made. We could have retrenched. So we made that choice. I think by and large, and a vast majority of SpiceJet employees were very happy that we didn't just remove them. Right?
No,
Now
absolutely.
we are in a position where we are paying them in full. We are hiring more people as the max comes back, as aircrafts increase and so on and so forth. But we decided that this collective pain, and I took zero salary. I mean zero, absolutely nothing. The heads of department took vastly reduced salaries. All of that has now been restored, and we restored our salaries last,
Right.
after we had restored everybody else's. So
Right.
that's our philosophy. We will continue to stand by our people.
Sure.
There will be some, not everybody will agree with what we are doing.
Sure.
But we think that was the best.
It's been wonderful speaking to you, and congratulations. It's it seems that it's a new dawn for Indian aviation now with this post-COVID scenario happening. I wish you all the very best. Thank you very much for being with us. Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir.